Yeah.
All right. My name is Alejandro. I'll be presenting an icebreaker dating app. So the the problem that I was trying to tackle was that grad students were having trouble breaking the ice on dating apps. I talked with a lot of people and they were having the same problem. Even I had it. So I chose this to be the problem that I'm going to tackle. So this problem leads to three main things. First one is boring conversations like hey, hey, and that's it. That's the end of it. Second one is people just thinking too much time what they want to say, right? And the third one is just start a conversation. You have a lot of matches, but nobody wants to start the conversation. So that problem leads basically to these three consequences. So I developed a persona, which is basically just a cool guy, and I went to do some customer discovery. I did this discovering Facebook groups and on campus, and I actually used Tinder to discover some of these people. So the results were 100% of the 12 people that I talked to were not sure how to start the conversation. And if we break it down, like 42% did not know how to start with a lot of matches, 33 with just a few matches, and 25 they did know, but they weren't sure that it was the best way to do it. So I went to do some competitive analysis to see if there was room for this kind of app. And I categorized the existing apps in the market into two main categories. Quick Match, which is like a dating app that basically throws profiles at you and you say I like it or not. And Slow Match, which is like more profile oriented. So you build your profile and then you start navigating other users, right? So my main competitors were Bumble and Tinder. Bumble provides some kind of like breaking material, ice-breaking material by letting the woman start the conversation. And Tinder, well, we all know Tinder, so it's one of the biggest players out there, so that's my big competitor. So let me show you guys some screens of the competition. So this is Bumble. It has a great UI, very similar to Tinder. It reminds you when your matchings are expiring, so you actively try to start conversations with the matches. And when the woman starts a conversation, you might break the ice or not. So it's still the same problem, even though it kind of like tries to solve my problem. So this is Tinder. We're all familiar with it. Great UI. And this is all the slow match apps that I talked about earlier, which have very complicated UIs, have a lot of friction in the UX, and it basically lets you build a detailed profile, which potentially could give you a lot of material to break the ice. So after doing the competitive analysis, I found out that this is also a purple ocean. There are a lot of apps out there that are using the same UX, swiping UX, and they're all trying to distinguish themselves with a distinct functionality like Bumble or Happen, where like it tells you how many times you cross paths with the other person. So I think there's an opportunity to build such an app that helps you break the ice and make it more entertaining, more organic. And so yeah. So this is the value proposition formally. A quick match dating app that throws icebreakers on conversations when there is a match. So I defined three key experiences for this type of app. The first one is going to be the icebreaker itself. So the app is going to throw icebreakers when there is a match between two people. So what is a breaker? It could be anything. It could be a general promise. It could be watching a video, playing a mini game. It could be anything. The second key experience is customization. The user is going to have the choice, the ability to choose what kind of breakers they would like in their conversations. And the third one is users can also submit their own breaker ideas. So people are great just for coming up with content, so I think that's a great experience. So I'm also offering that. So the storyboard is pretty simple. You first select what kind of breakers you would like in your conversations. Then you swipe through profiles. You get a notification when you have a match. And or you engage in conversation with the app introducing an icebreaker in your conversation. And fifth, you go get a chrono with your app thing. And this is the prototype. It's called Flowr. And you basically log in with Facebook. This is the screen where you select what kind of categories you want. Of breakers you want in your conversations. There's a button next to each category that explains what's involved in each category. And this is the swiping screen where you swipe profiles. And this is the conversation itself. We can see the icebreaker on top of it and the conversation. There's also a star next to the icebreaker, so users can rate the icebreaker. They don't like it or they do. So I wanted to do, with this prototype, I wanted to do some guerrilla user research. Found out that 100% of the people really like the idea and they would use it as it is. And part of the reason is that most of the people, every person that I interview, were already familiar with the dating apps, so they were really familiar with the UI, so they didn't find trouble going through the prototype. Another thing that I found is that it's really hard to validate in-app purchases, which is part of my business model, because it's really hard for people to say, yes, I will pay for that, for something that they don't understand yet. So I'm going to have to experiment with that. And they also validated that they will submit breaker ideas for the app. So I ran an ad campaign in Google. This is the ad. I wish I could do it on Facebook, but Facebook doesn't allow to run ads on dating services that are not approved. So I only did it in Google. So, and this is my landing page. That's the top part with the download button and the key features that I explained before there. This is the bottom part. Basically shows the user, okay, go from this to this if you download my app. And some testimonies. And this is the page that actually where you submit your email address to try our beta. And so these are the results of the ad. I ran the ad twice. First with the $10 daily budget in Los Angeles, and then with a $20 budget in the United States. The first one weren't getting me like a lot of views, so it's insignificant. So I crashed all the data here. So I got 4,000 views and 15 clicks, and conversion rate of 0.37%. And this is just for the ads, right? And it's curious that all the traffic was coming mostly from smartphones. So these are the actual landing page results. I got 49 visitors, 3 conversions, and 6.12% conversion rate, which is, I think it's acceptable. So the things that I learned with this campaign was most of the traffic was actually coming from smartphones, so I think I could optimize the ad for that. And the wording maybe needs to be improved to have more clicks. And the conversion rate, I think it was acceptable. Maybe if I improve the website for smartphones, I think I could get more clicks. And as a next step, if I get $100,000, I would definitely develop a working prototype, run marketing campaigns, and generate strategic partnerships. So that's it.
The time, can we like speed it up?